Welcome back, everybody, to another one of our spotlight interviews. Today we have a bit of a special one. We have Stacey Chartier-Grable, our founder. To start us off, could you tell us how long you have been with OCH since you have been here since the beginning?
So we founded OC Habitats on July 5th, 2017. So obviously I was kind of here before that because we were developing the idea. And I say we, at the time it was kind of me. But I did pull in a couple people right away, which was Alice Carter, who was our treasurer, and David Klein, who was our secretary. So even though I started it, they jumped off very quickly after me. So the three of us really did all the bylaws and all that stuff. So that summer was a very busy summer of getting things going.
I bet. So can you tell us what sparked your interest to make this sort of career change and really start helping out the environment in this way?
Yeah, so I have a background in both business and the environment. My undergrad is a business degree and my graduate is an environmental degree. And I was in the environmental field after I graduated, and I was a stay-at-home mom for quite some time. And then I went back into the environmental field. And, my passion has always been conservation. And if you're working for the public sector, sometimes it's, a mixed bag. I really wanted to step off and do something that I truly was passionate about and that was in line with my morals. And also I was a certain age. I'm not getting any younger. And I wanted to make sure that, I had done the thing I wanted to do before I couldn't do it anymore. That was kind of what ignited me to decide to go, well, we're going to do this. We're going to try this nonprofit thing. I had gotten enough exposure to other nonprofits to see that it was a doable task. I just kind of jumped in on both feet and, we took it slow, but we definitely took a leap. That's kind of how that happened as far as, going from the public sector or private sector to a nonprofit formula.
That's awesome. So when you started OC Habitats, what were your goals for us? What did you see us becoming in the future?
We started small. Like I said, I was myself and two other board members, and we had, only a handful of volunteers. There might have been 5 or 6 of us. So in total, there was maybe 7 or 8 people. And we were mainly doing monitoring of the coastal dune habitats because that's what I was kind of doing in my last job. And it just made sense to transition into that because we noticed there was a weakness in that area. But the next thing I knew that we definitely wanted to be part of was education, because education has always been a strong part of my life. My husband has been a teacher all these years, and I was teaching in various different ways over the years. So I knew that education was going to be really, really important. And I think it's super important in getting the word out and educating the public about our environment so that people can advocate for it. If they don't understand it, you can't advocate for it.
Can you describe your role here at OCH? Obviously, it's a big one, and I know that you wear a lot of different hats. So could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so obviously, yes, I do wear a lot of hats, and I always envision a room with a series of hooks, and there's probably at least 10 of them. First and foremost, I'm on the board, so I'm the president of the board and the CEO, and then I'm also the executive director. So the executive director kind of just running the whole show. Essentially have done most of that on my own with the help of many volunteers and interns over the last few years. We now have 2 staff people that are helping me with the task. So we started out doing it that way. So the hats that I wear, let me just say, so I just said those things. Some of the things, I am the restoration director. I am the volunteer coordinator. I am the mentor for internships. I am the business person that is talking to, our bookkeeper and doing the taxes and making sure that we've got all of our compliance in with all the federal and state and local agencies. So that's kind of that. I'm an educator. I go out and I actually do the teaching. I do the curriculum development. I do monitoring. I go out and I actually do the monitoring. I do monitor training. So I help train the different volunteers, although that is starting to hand off to one of our other board members, Ross Griswold. And that's been a nice relief. I still do it once in a while, but not as much as I used to. And then restoration, like as I mentioned, doing a bunch of the restoration stuff is being really involved in that and coordinating with the partner agencies around, and of course then heading marketing and developing relationships. So there's actually quite a few. And so like I said, we just hired 2 new people and they're helping to take some of that load off. They're getting their experience. So all of this it's growing and developing, and we have some fantastic interns, including yourself, that have really taken on some great roles in our organization and getting the word out and doing good work in the field, not only, and then doing our outreach and education. My hats are starting to get passed out a little bit, and people are starting to share those roles with me, which is fantastic. One, it's great because I feel like we're getting more work done, but also different perspectives. So I always believe it's really important for collaboration and really providing good programming means that there's more than one mind on it, because if I am the only one providing programming, then it's going to be Stacey's view and Stacey's view only. So it's good to have other people adding to that and giving different perspectives. And we have all ages of volunteers that bring those perspectives. And I think it's important because then we can reach a lot of different audiences.
That's a really good point. I agree that it's a really good thing to have in anything, not just a nonprofit, but in any area of life.
Yeah.
Is there any project across the years of OCH that really stood out to you that you really were excited about or really proud of?
Well, I'm honestly just proud of our organization overall. We've really come a long way in a short amount of time. We've done a lot of good work. Our restoration program has really taken off. So that's something that I'm really proud of. We've worked with a variety of agencies, OC Parks, Huntington Beach Wetlands Conservancy, and Project Grow. And we've had really great relationship with them. And I think we've made an impact in those particular habitats. Many of those are still ongoing and we foresee them to continue on into the future. So that's a really big one. Our internship program is actually, that was probably not the original intent when we first came in. As I think it would have come anyway, but at the time when we started the nonprofit, it wasn't like, oh, we're going to have an internship program. It just kind of started happening because people were interested. And our internship program, I think, has grown pretty well for as small as we are. Right now we have 7 interns. So that program I think has been really great. And our team is fantastic. And the collaboration, I'm always learning. And these, young people are always bringing me information. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I didn't realize that, or I hadn't updated myself on, there's a lot to know about the environment. So I'm always learning from our interns. I really love that program. And we've just had some amazing individuals come through, just, amazing writers. We've had some artists, we've had some, filmographers and different people that are bringing different things to the pic, and sometimes it's hard with interns because I hate to let some of them go because they're so fantastic. So it's been fun. I am proud of everything, but there are some standout things.
For our last question, is there something that you have learned through founding OCH and through building it up? Is there a lesson that you would take away or anything that you have learned throughout this experience?
I have learned a ton. So what I have learned about something like this is, and I think whether it's a nonprofit or a small business, is there's a huge learning curve. And I tell people we're almost 4 years. Our anniversary is coming up this July for 4 years. And the learning curve is still pretty steep. We're learning things all the time, and also things change. So there's a lot of regulations that regulate nonprofits, specifically in California. We have a lot of regulations, and I'm very, very mindful of us always being in compliance. There is a constant learning curve. You don't give up, and you ask for help. I honestly have I've tried to do a good job of reaching out and not assuming like I just have to take all this on. So if I can find someone that can give me some advice or lead me in a certain way that helps me, then I'm taking that as much as I can. And within our organization and even outside the organization of people I've drawn information and advice from, we've been lucky that they've been willing to help. And it's definitely made a difference in our organization and us growing. So I guess my advice to anyone that's, considering doing something like this is definitely, flush it out first, make sure there's a need for it, and take it small and slow, but don't give up.
I think those are great words of wisdom. That brings us to the end of our interview. Thank you so much, Stacey, for being here and sharing with us today. And thank you everybody for watching. Be sure to tune in next time for our next Spotlight interview. Bye, everyone.
Bye.